From the BzG studio in the Mission Dolores district, right in the heart of San Francisco, it's BzG News with Barrett Courtney.
Thank you so much. Thank you over here. Oh, with the glasses and the nose ring. You're beautiful. You always stop by. You're a beautiful, beautiful person. What's up, everybody? My name is Barrett Courtney, and this is BzG News. We have a very exciting show for you today. Sean Pitt stopped by for a one-on-one interview where we talk about his journey through gaming coverage, Childish Gambino, and his fantastic hair. But first, here is your weekly news roundup. Following the positive reviews of Deadpool's first ever movie, writers Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick are already going back to work on a follow-up movie, which has reportedly been greenlit. The Deadpool director Tim Miller has not been confirmed to be coming back for the sequel, but Fox Studios has talked about getting the new coming director back for a second movie. PlayStation owners are getting a massive sale this weekend across PS4, PS3, and PS Vita. It's a long list including games like Assassin's Creed Black Flag, Deadpool, Rainbow Six Siege, South Park The Stick of Truth, and Citizens of Earth. Gaming developer Mad Catz, popular for the recent Rock Band 4, had some major restructuring this week following a plummet in the stock market. CEO Darren Richardson stepped down, and the company is cutting about 37% of its workforce. The new CEO, Karen McGinnis, has stated that the restructure will enable Mad Catz to be more competitive and increase their focus on operational, technological, and commercial actions that will help them achieve their long-term vision. If you have no plans this Valentine's Day weekend and want to waste your time on a very average game rather than on a very average date, Star Wars Battlefront will be giving double XP to all players this weekend. So if you're like me and the only thing you want to unlock is that dope-ass Dark Trooper outfit, now is the time. If you are a PlayStation Plus member and own a PS4, you can now vote for one of the free games for the month of March. The games in the poll right now are Action Hank, a side-scrolling speed-running platformer, Assault Android Cactus, an arcade-style twin-stick shooter, and Broforce, a side-scrolling run-and-gun platformer. So get on voting for whichever game you want to get for free. If you were like me, you didn't get to play the closed beta for The Division. You might even be more like me if you got a code and the code straight up just didn't work. But good news for us people, The Division will be getting an open beta for Xbox One owners on February 18th and then February 19th for PS4 and PC owners. The open beta will include everything from the closed beta and an all-new story mission. And the roundup for the news this week, something strange happened last weekend when Xbox One owners discovered they could play 360 games like Red Dead Redemption and Left 4 Dead 2, games that were not previously announced to be backwards compatible. And soon after, the functionality for those games became unavailable. Since then, Xbox Live's Major Nelson has publicly apologized, stating, quote, "Due to an error, some of the games currently in test for backwards compatibility were accidentally made available. We have since removed access to those games and apologize for any confusion this may have caused." Unquote. Xbox has yet to say when those games will actually become available for Xbox One owners. Ladies and gentlemen, that was our news for this week. But before we go, I'm proud to announce a new monthly segment of the show called Gamer of the Month, where I interview a fellow gamer in the video game coverage industry. And I'm proud to say that my first guest for this segment is none other than Sean motherfucking Pitt from nerdsonline.com. So here you go, my hour-long interview with the nerd himself.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to say that I have Sean Pitt here with me. He's the first Gamer of the Month. Of course, Gamer of the Month is a new segment for BzG News. Once a month, I try to get another gamer in here and talk to them for a little bit. And the first one, of course, is Sean Pitt. What's up, Sean? How you doing today?
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm sorry, my cat is just off screen, so it looks like I'm just slowly patting my crotch. She's there.
When we're with each other, we always like to pat our own crotches, you know.
It's true. I have that effect on people.
Now, if you don't know, Sean is from New Jersey, where he runs nerdsonline.com. And if you're Jared Petty, you pronounce it knerdsonline.com. Because there's a K at the beginning of nerds, and the K is silent, unless you're Jared Petty. He hosts
Damn
a weekly podcast. I just remember that when we went to that IGN house party.
Everybody does that. Brian says it like that too. All my fucking friends are douches and they say it like that. No, Jared is actually my favorite human being alive. So
Jared is a fucking awesome human being. But Sean, he hosts a weekly podcast called Nerds at the Round Table. He records Let's Plays, and he also streams every once in a while on twitch.tv/Sean Twisters.
Yep.
So Sean, you're a very busy guy. You have a big social media presence. Yeah, unfortunately.
Big. I'm not huge. It's like,
but no,
modest.
but you're busy. You're on you're on the social media. You're on Twitter all the time. You're doing your stuff on YouTube. But recently you were actually a little you were quiet a couple of weeks because of a car crash that you were in recently. And I just want to ask, like, how everybody in the accident was okay, right?
Yep. Miraculously, everybody in the accident survived. And
so what happened in this car crash? Like what was going on? Was it rainy? Was it?
Yep. It was raining. It was night. I was on a road with no lights. And
that's the worst.
A lot of the highways around here, like the back highways that we have, are like 60 miles an hour with no lights. And I was driving behind this guy. I was pretty close. I was probably too close. I was too close. And he just swerved out of the way of a car that was just sitting in the middle of the road waiting to turn.
Oh, shit.
And I just didn't see him. And like by the time I registered that there was a car in front of me, I was like, oh, I'm going to die. Because I was going 50 miles an hour. And I hit him still accelerating. Like there was literally I had no time to switch over and do anything. I just hit him at full speed. My cabin in my car collapsed. My lights exploded. My backlights exploded. My windshield cracked. My car actually bent a little, which made it so my door wouldn't open. So I had to crawl out of my window. And my airbags deployed, but I didn't let it hit me. I spun my hands at the last second. I didn't lock my wrists, but I locked my elbows into my stomach, which is something you learn in jiu-jitsu class. So that you don't go forward. It's like how you stop somebody from coming up. So it's like instinctually to stop myself from moving, I like locked my hands down into my stomach. So I didn't want to break my nose. So I did all that. And like, it was crazy because that 1 second really did feel like forever. Because like I remember looking at my speedometer, being like, I'm going over 50 miles an hour. I'm hitting a parked Beamer, basically. I'm going to die. But like I did everything I could to stop that. So like I spun my hands. I hit really hard, and then I started screaming, I'm okay. Like instinctually I just started yelling, I'm okay. Like it's not that bad. Like I was trying to talk myself out of the fact that I was just in a high-speed car accident.
That's really terrifying. I'm sure like I can speak for everybody that you've met and like all of our nerdy friends out there. Like we're so fucking glad that you're okay. Like I remember when you tweeted that out, I was like, fuck, like being in a car crash is like one of like my biggest fears. Just because like I've been hit by a car before and like could sort of being in a major, like an actual car crash where there's two cars involved. Like that's just fucking terrifying to me. So
it was, it definitely changed my life a lot. Like I crawled out of my car and I didn't flip or anything, but I couldn't get out. And anybody who knows anything about car accidents, like when your airbags deploy, it starts to fill the car up with smoke.
Oh, wow.
Which is like not smoke, like not bad smoke, but there's like dust on the inside of it. And it's really, it makes me sick, actually. Like the taste of it is still in my mouth. Like I still wake up in the middle of the night with the taste in my mouth because it's like, oops, sorry.
No, you're all good.
I'm like emotionally scarred from it. Which we'll get into in a minute if you want to talk about like the long-term effects. But so like I fell out of my car and coolest cop in the world came and was like, hey man, like he saw me lay because I got up and like to say that I was in shock is such an understatement. Like shaking, like I went in the back and I was like trying not to throw up. And I just laid down on the grass once I made sure the other guy was okay. And he was mad, but he was okay. I get it. I'd be upset too. And the cop came up to me and he was like, I need to get the person out of the 370Z. And I was like, I was in the 370Z. And he was like, no way. That person's dead. Like he saw my car and he was like, no way that guy survived. That guy's dead. Because my car was like destroyed. And like it was like all driver's side too. And like he was like he like called the ambulance came and checked me out, and the ambulance came up and they were like, "Were you in the Beamer?" And I was like, "No, I was in a 370Z." And he was like, "No fucking way. Like that car is destroyed." Like he's like, I had like a bruise on my collarbone from where I had my seatbelt on. And
Yeah.
I was like, he was like, you would literally be 50 feet down the road if you didn't have your seatbelt on. And I actually buckled up right before I got in the accident, probably like 15 seconds before for some reason, I just put my seatbelt on. Like I don't normally wear my seatbelt when I drive. Well, I do, but like I was like a back road. I never expected it. And like, I don't believe in God, but like, man, I believe in God a little bit more now.
Yeah, and it's sort of like I'm not that religious either, but that sort of just sort of weird like coincidence that happens where you for some reason you decide to do something and it fucking saves your life. Yeah. The universe is pulling at your side. They're like pulling for you though. Obviously, whatever greater power is out.
It changes a lot.
Yeah, like how, like I sort of know like the long-term effects of sort of that. Like I was hit by a car a couple of years ago, and I still I don't do it as much, but I get very weird about four-way intersections that only have two stop signs, and there's like one sort of like two ways that don't have a stop sign. I get really weird about those because people in San Francisco don't know how to fucking drive, and they don't know how to stop at stop signs and let the people who have the right of way go. So I'm very weird about that. And there are other things that I don't remember as well, just because it's been a few years out since that. But I know like even 6 months after that, when I got hit, there were still just like weird effects and weird things that I would do personally. So like, what's that been like for you?
So my mom was in a car accident, I'm 25, 30 years ago, and she was crippled for life. So that's something we still deal with. So like car accidents are like kind of a big thing in our family. It like ruined my mom's life. So like I was always like, it's never going to happen to me because like I'm a great driver. Guess I'm not. I am a good driver. I just made a mistake. But it's just like some of the weird things are like I wake up in the middle of the night screaming. I haven't done it in like 2 weeks, but like for like 3 weeks afterwards, I would like have the dream that I was in the car and I was trapped in a car every night. So like I would every night relive being in a car accident. So like that was a little hard to wake up from. And so that was pretty creepy. But other than that, like, and it was like the weirdest thing. I was listening to music in my mom's car when I was driving home from work the other day. And this is like so weird. And I was listening to a Kanye West song, one of my favorites. And there's a line in a song that said, "I must have died in that accident because this must be heaven." And I was like singing along to the song. And I didn't even think about it. I said that, I just started crying. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? And I was like, I clearly have psychological trauma from the car accident. But like, it's been, I would see somebody, but it's like, it's getting better every day. Like now, like I barely think about it. Every time I get in the car though, I'm like, man, I gotta be careful out there. This is a really dangerous thing that I never even looked at driving as being dangerous. And now it's like the only thing I think about is like, this is so dangerous. Like I try to avoid driving.
Yeah, now like the people from Fast and Furious just make it look so easy. You know?
Oh yeah, it's not all fucking drifting around corners with broads in the seat. But yeah, very scary. I'm okay now though. I'm happy to report.
That's good. I'm glad
Blessing in disguise, really, because I got rid of my car, which means I have a lot more money now. Like a tremendous amount more money.
I know. I used to have a car. I used to live down in San Jose. It's about an hour south of San Francisco, and I had a car down there. And then when I moved in with my girlfriend about a little less than a year ago, I got rid of it, and it was so awesome. So we still use my girlfriend's car.
The little Mazda you have, right?
Yeah. I love that Mazda.
Surprisingly
it's way better.
Hard to find on the streets. Like if you were to park the car and then go say to get burritos, it would be really hard to locate the car again. Like for an hour and a half.
Okay. So let me tell you guys this story. Sean, Tom, and Fred, all from Knerds, and our good friend Alex O'Neill from irrationalpassions.com. You guys are here for PSX in early December, and you and Tom were also here in San Francisco for the IGN house party about a month and a half before that.
3 weeks.
3 weeks before that. Okay. And so what had happened, so the 5 of us went to Underdogs, and I had parked the Sunset, which is where Underdogs is very repetitive in how everything looks.
That shit looks like a 1970s sitcom, dude. It's like every house looks exactly the fuck. You guys can't see it on camera, but there's like hair going everywhere from my cat.
It's okay. Yeah, so everything looks the same, and so we go to Underdogs. We're in Underdogs for maybe 40 minutes to an hour or something, and we leave Underdogs, and I start leading you guys because you, Tom, and I went to Underdogs when just you two were here, and so I started leading you guys to where I parked when just you two were here. And so when we got to that place where I had parked when you guys were here in October, I was like, oh shit, this isn't where I parked. Fuck, where did I park? And then we proceeded to look for my car for about a good hour.
I mean, it happens, man.
Yeah. So it was just like a brain fart. And, I totally, of course, I remember where I parked 3 weeks ago, but not
no problem.
An hour before that.
It happened. It's one of those weird things. It just shit happens. But, yeah, but now that I don't have my car, I have an extra almost $700 a month in my pocket. So
that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I drove a really expensive car. So now that's gone, I'm like fucking balling. It's awesome. I got double meat at Chipotle today. I didn't even fucking think about it.
That's a great feeling. Yeah, I just I'm doing pretty well with money right now too. I just actually bought some new clothes as well. I haven't bought new clothes in like a fucking year.
I only buy clothes at conventions. Thank you, Mega64, for the beautiful shirt.
Oh, and also you should check out Knerds Online /store.
There's no shirts there.
There are no shirts there, but
there will be a shirt. I'm launching a new shirt. It's a new. I don't know if I'm ready to reveal what it is, but I have a new shirt design.
Sean is launching a new shirt, and if you want the old shirt design, which is I'm actually getting that. It's in the mail somewhere. I should be getting the Nerds logo shirt sometime soon. If you want that, tweet at all of the Nerds people and be like, yo, we want this classic shirt back.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever do another run of that. That might be it.
Oh, okay.
I might be done. We might do I want to say when Tom comes back in April or May, we will do another run, maybe red or something like that.
Cool. All right. So I just wanted to get that information about the car accident because I just wanted to make sure that you were physically and mentally okay. You're mentally healing. But you and I met last year at Kind of Funny Live. Well, not at Kind of Funny Live. I couldn't go just yet.
At the pre-party of Kind of Funny Live.
At the pre-party, we're doing fan meetups. You and I met at Wing Wings.
Yes, we did.
Because of that, you were out here for Kind of Funny Live, and if you don't know, Kind of Funny, group of guys on YouTube who review games, or not, they review games every once in a while, but they talk about games. They have a podcast, all that good stuff, and it was because of Kind of Funny that I met you, and I feel like a lot of people can say that as well. It's because of them, or just because of how well you bring yourself out in social media. A lot of people met you last year. 2015 was your breakout year of, yo, I'm a gaming coverage guy. So what I wanted to ask you is, what has been your journey through gaming coverage? Who inspired you to do gaming coverage, and what has been your journey starting Nerds and relaunching Nerds and all that stuff, mainly from last year?
Yeah, 2015 was weird. It was a really weird year as Jenna, who is my ex-girlfriend, but not really. I'm moving, so we kind of broke up. But she's the one who's been with me since the beginning of this. Is she always says when I started dating you, you were just an IT guy with fucking 10 Twitter followers, and no one knew who the fuck you were. And I got recognized the other day at a video game store in my town from some kid I had never met before. He was "Oh shit,
awesome!
You're that kid that was on IGN." I'm like, "Yeah, I was." That's weird. So it's not like I'm some fucking superstar. I got 2,200 Twitter followers. It's not the biggest thing in the world, but 2015 was a weird year. I would say like long ago, I was inspired by Adam Sessler, who is the OG, like always will be. Adam Sessler.
He is the OG. Like that was like G4 TV when like there's video game coverage on TV and not all on the internet.
I used to rush home every day from school to watch X Play from 4 to 5 because it was on 2 back-to-back episodes. It was on the episode that was the previous night, which is 11:30, which was the new episode, which I wasn't allowed to stay up late enough to watch. So, except for on special occasions. And it was that episode plus an old rerun. And I think I might have watched almost every episode of X Play. Huge inspiration. And this last weekend, I met Adam Sessler for the first time. He was the last of the like people I wanted to meet. He'll probably be the last guy I ever lose my shit in front of. Because I met Adam Sessler and mentally I was not prepared to meet Adam Sessler. And I tweeted at him, "Yo, dog, heard you at PAX South. Stop by this booth. I'm working." And he came.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah. He was like, "Hey, I saw your tweet." And I was like, "Oh, man, I wasn't ready for this." But it was pretty funny. He was cooler than I could have ever imagined him being because like I was like, "Hey, man, I just want to say like you're a huge yada, yada, yada." I gave him the spiel. And I was like, "Now I'm going to let you go." I always give this with everybody. I give people an out. I'm like, "I'm going to let you go do your thing." And he's like, no, man, I came to talk to you. And he was like, "Tell me about your stuff. Tell me about your journey." And I was like, holy shit, this guy's so cool. So that was back in the day. But then I realized that's really hard to do, and I didn't know how to do it. So like I grew up and I like didn't go to college and I didn't have a background in film and I couldn't write to save my life. I still can't write. It's my biggest probably the reason I don't work in the industry right now is because I can't write. Sucks. It's an essential skill. You have to have it.
Yeah,
it is be able to write like a little bit. It's nice. That's why Alex O'Neill is going to get hired before me.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like something I want to ask you. What was the decision of not going to college? As someone who is sort of taking classes and is sort of being forced by his parents to get a degree, and I don't really want to. Like, what was like? You're an inspiration to me for not going to college. So.
I didn't. Not only did I not go to college, I'm very against it for my type of people. So like, I don't think that college would have put me in any better of a position unless I had like previous knowledge that I wanted to do this and I'd gone to film school. But then I would be in debt. Most talented person I know is Andy Cortez, one of my best friends. And like you talk about how Kind of Funny changed my life. There's a high percentage I move in with Andy Cortez before the end of the year in Austin, Texas. Him and another Kind of Funny fan, Alex Aziz, which is what we're working towards right now. All go work for Rooster Teeth. That's the dream.
It is the dream.
Andy Cortez, most talented person I ever met in my life. And he's in like, he has debt from college. And he's like, it sucks. You know, like, it's just the way it is. He had to do it. And like, you know, he's super talented and he learned a lot of good stuff there. I wouldn't have learned how to be as talented as Andy in college. And like when I was in 10th grade, my dad had died and like my family was figuring a lot of stuff out. And I made the executive decision. I went to my stepdad and my stepmom and I was like, school, I'm not learning anything in school. I don't know what I want to do and I'm not going to find it in school. And I'm not going to waste my time and I'm not going to waste your money. So like, I'm not going to go to college unless I figure out like what I want to do. And if I really want to be a doctor, which is what you need college for, or I really want to be an accountant, or I really want to do something like a lawyer, then I'll do it. But if I want to be an idiot on YouTube who talks about video games, then I'm going to practice that and get really good at that. And it was scary. It's still scary. I haven't made it yet. People think I made it. Like I don't work from video games. You know, I slave over a YouTube channel and like create content and fucking skip out on social obligations and spend all my money on traveling. And like I haven't made shit. You know, I have fans that were friends that I'm really grateful for, but like it's still scary.
Yeah, and I think that you haven't made it yet, but you're one of those guys. Like I remember, there's something Tim Getty said from Kind of Funny where, you know, they don't think like they've like made it big yet, or it was sort of in the beginning where Tim was like, just present yourself as a fucking badass motherfucker on the internet, and people will think that, and that's like what's happening with you right now. Like you have such a great presentation over at Knerds Online that people think that you guys are like this premier thing, and that's really fucking cool. Just from like what you guys have done in the last year,
we've tricked a lot of people.
But you know what? It isn't a trick. I think you guys are the stuff that you learned has been really impressive in the last year, and the way that you present it to people is very professional, actually. And it's actually one of the few like professional groups that I see on the internet that actually really impress me. So, it's fucking, yeah.
It's really like I went back and I assembled like the Suicide Squad of like people who are going to make it. In my ideal like team, there would be 2 other people that I would bring in that I think are also like right on the door, who have put their time in and are like, that's Jimmy Champagne and Alex O'Neill, who are like, people forget that I still look up to Alex O'Neill and Jimmy Champagne. Like, I love those guys. I watch everything that Jimmy Champagne puts out. He's the fucking man. Same thing to Alex. I read every article that I can from Alex. He writes too much, so like I don't read that much. But like, like those are the guys. I remember seeing Jimmy Champagne at Beyond 300 and being like, that's the motherfucker right there. That guy knows what's up. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, something got caught in my tooth. I'm gonna power through it. So
yeah, Alex O'Neill, what a great guy.
Yeah, super talented. But it's really because like Jack's good at writing, so we have Jack write. Tom is good at presentation and editing, and like now I'm learning how to edit, so I know how to edit now. And I'm good at the everything else. Like I'm good at the meeting people. I'm good at the traveling. I'm good at the networking. And like,
yeah,
Fred is the most loyal person I've ever met and has one of the highest learning curves I've ever met. Like you show Fred how to do something, and then 5 minutes later, Fred knows how to do it. He taught himself the soundboard completely by himself. It took him like 5 minutes. He was like, yeah, now I know how to use a soundboard. So now our shit sounds good because of Fred. And like,
go Fred.
We have
fucking shout out to Fred Sully at Fred _ Sully.
And then I have a guy named Martin from Ireland who, like, when I need him, I'll hit him up and he'll tell me how to make my audio better because he's a fucking about to get his PhD in audio or something like that. So like I just know enough talented people that I can like siphon off their resources and teach myself enough to really do it. And biggest inspiration that I have is obviously Kind of Funny. I don't fucking hide it. I love those guys. They help me out. Specifically Tim and Nick. Nick took me under his wing and showed me some stuff that you can't learn anywhere else. Like you got to learn that either from experience or from Nick. Like he taught me how to act in front of people, especially in front of important people, how to dress, what to say, like how to get into parties and make it look like I'm supposed to fucking be there and not make it look like they snuck their fan in. Now when people are like, oh, you're Sean, I'm like, yeah, how's it going? Like before I'd be like, I'm like, got a backpack on and a fucking big Kind of Funny shirt on. I'm like, that doesn't look good when you're at an after party. And
no, it doesn't. And in a way, you sort of taught that. You brought me under your wing when you and Tom came for the IGN house party, and you guys were sort of showing me all of these tips and whatnot when we were there, and that was really cool to see from. So just sort of that's when you know when you've learned something, when you can teach it to someone else.
Yeah.
So you've learned that well from Nick.
I wish that Nick had taught me that 6 months earlier, but he didn't. So it's one of those things like you can never learn that step early enough. Fake it till you make it really is this like the standard in this industry. And of course like Tim, like people really don't know how much of an impact Tim's had on my life, but I could never put it into words. Tim will still just randomly text me like, hey, you're doing great. Like, I always feel like no matter how bad it gets, Tim Geddes is, like, somewhere rooting for me. Like, he wants me to make it. So, like, and you could actually watch it. If you go to the youtube.com/kindoffunny and look at the video, why we left $100,000 for 100,000 subs. I am, like, 56 minutes into it. I ask a question, and he has no idea who I am. Like, there's no rapport there. Tim Geddes, that is the first question I ever asked Tim and Nick, ever. At that time of me asking that question, I had 10 followers on Twitter, and I left that day with 400. I left that day with 400.
Now.
Yeah, it's funny. Crazy. Tim totally changes my life with that answer.
Well, that's awesome. I should go check that out. I think that's actually one of the very few videos on Kind of Funny that I haven't watched, so I should check that out.
That's like I always tell people, if you watch closely, you can see my life change. Because like that's when I realized like, oh, I could do it. Like he just like basically was like, oh, I believe in you, and this is why, and this is how you do it. And like, I'll never be able to repay Tim, because before that I was going to die a boring ass IT guy.
Well, I'm glad you made the jump into gaming coverage. And, you know, you started Nerds with the Round Table. It was originally just a podcast with you and Jack Rooney. And it was like you two going through the weekly news and talking about a bunch of other nerdy stuff. And then you guys relaunched as Knerds Online. Tom Hawkins, very well known from, you know, being from England and working on like the Kind of Funny Supercuts and also doing Knerds Online content. You two met at
New York
Comic-Con. All right.
He had no idea who I was. He just flew across the country because I offered him a free place to stay and a ticket.
That's fucking awesome. And then you guys met. You guys met, and within the span of like 1 or 2 days, you guys were like, "Hey, we should build a website." Yeah. And so with that, like him coming in and helping you do a relaunch of Nerds and building sort of this website and a video aspect and having shirts, you guys really came in hard when you relaunched last year. And he carried a lot of the video editing portion when you guys started out, and he actually our country kicked him out at one point.
He's not allowed to be here for a certain amount of time now. He can't come back until like late April or beginning of May.
That's fucking stupid. Because we fucking suck. Even though we're America, the best country in the world, we suck at times.
I don't agree with the best country in the world part. Canada's pretty dope. I don't know if you know that.
I've only been to Canada once, and I was like 10, and it was like Niagara Falls, so
Niagara
sort
Falls
of Canada.
Is dope.
Yeah.
What's it called? Sweden's also pretty great. But anyway, yeah, Tom Hawkins, like a fucking hurricane, came and went. And like he hasn't gone anywhere. I mean, he's just still my friend. It's just I don't get to wake up next to him anymore.
That's a sad moment when you can't wake up next to that beard.
Yeah, he shaved a lot of it off.
Yeah, I saw that. He posted it on Twitter, I believe. And so he was doing a lot of the video editing when you guys relaunched, and then he went back to England, and he's still there right now. So how was that transition of he was doing a lot of the video editing for your Let's Plays and the video portion of Nerds of the Round Table? Like, was he able to teach you and give you enough like tips and whatnot like before he left, or like how did that work out?
It was really tough. It was really hard for a long time. We still struggle with it, as you can tell by my podcast is up this week, and the last 20 minutes are gone, and we don't know where they are. And like, I'd love to text Tom, but it's 2:00 in the morning, where Tom is. So it's like the time difference is a bitch. It's really hard to get over. It's really hard to work with. Tom's making the best of it while he works his jobs because he's got new jobs over there. And, you know, I work a full-time job on top of it. I've taught myself how to edit video. I edited our most recent Let's Play. I'll be editing probably all of our Let's Plays going forward. I think I could probably do I definitely could do the podcast too. I still let him do that. It's good to have him still involved. It's really, that time difference is really hard to work with. Because by the time I realized there's a problem, Tom's probably asleep. And you could tell by people think our content suffered because Tom left. And it did, but it was like also a fever pitch of like we ran out of games to play. And like I didn't really want to do daily Let's Plays every day.
Yeah, and you know, of course, like here at BzG, we sort of did a restructuring of how we do things. And I dumbly said, hey, we're going to do Let's Plays every day. Thankfully, we haven't run out of games yet, but when we do, it's going to be really fucking awkward.
It sucks. But it's hard.
Yeah, it is hard. And thankfully, I've got enough of a backlog to be like, oh, yeah, I could definitely play this and fucking record it for like an hour. Let's do that. But yeah, it was sort of a weird transition of he sort of left at the same time of like no games were coming out. So, you know, that's not anybody's fault.
I'm not understating. Like Tom is ridiculously important to our website, and I couldn't thank him enough. Like when he came to me, he was like, "Oh, we should relaunch Nerds," and I was like, "Yeah, we should." Like I was like thinking at the exact same time. We came to that at the same time. But I took a seat and I was like, "What don't I watch on my favorite YouTubers?" I never watched Let's Plays, but I will watch Let's Plays if they're rare. So like if now I'll probably watch every kind of funny Let's Play because I don't do them every day. They're not like I do believe in quantity. Because look, Fuzz, we're on camera, man. I believe in quality over quantity, and I'm not going to record a Let's Play for the sake of recording a Let's Play. I'm going to record a Let's Play because I want to. I either have a game that I really want to show people and I'm really excited about, or I'm really fucking good at a game and I want to show people how good I am. That was like my most recent Destiny montage that I edited myself. I'm really good at Destiny. I'm top, according to the counter, top 10,000 players in the world, or top 11,000 players in the world. So I want to show people like what it looks like when you're that good at Destiny. I have great friends at Destiny, so like we capture awesome footage. But the problem is like my audience doesn't really want to see that. It's tough to watch first-person shooters, and so it's one of those things where it's, you know, I'll probably put up something on Firewatch. I'll probably we just put up a review impression of Not a Hero, but those don't chart. You know, like instructionals chart, they do really well. Our Fallout 4 Let's Play is still the best one we've ever done. 1,200 right now views at the time. So I think I have a video that I uploaded like a year ago when I first started this on like the worst equipment like God ever made. I might as well have been shooting it with a fucking hand cranked VHS tape recorder. And it's on my personal YouTube channel. I actually hit it and it's got like 3,000 views because it's an instructional.
Yeah,
so
we were thinking about doing instructionals at one point. And those are, you know, those people look that shit up because they want to do this kind of stuff themselves. So,
yeah, it's like how to beat Neokiter in fucking Rogue Legacy. It was over 1,000 views last time I checked, and I just uploaded that and I just walked away and never fucking paid attention to it, and it just like it did really well. It's fucking
yeah, it's the Let's Plays are sort of weird in that aspect of I find myself only watching Let's Plays when like I'm really into the game or I'm really into the personalities. And with that being said, it's really only kind of funny. And I don't really watch like every single one of their Let's Plays, but when there's something unique, like Emily is Away, when Greg and Tim did that, I think a couple months ago, like that seemed super interesting to me. And so, but for the most part, I'll try to watch instructional like gameplay footage where there's no like voiceover and whatnot. That seems to be more popular than the entertainment aspect of Let's Plays. It's interesting. It's interesting to see where that sort of media goes.
YouTube's a weird thing. It's just you have to either be really funny or have a game early or be able to do something that people can't do. Because like our podcast does very well, and like that's our bread and butter. People show up to Knerds Online for the podcast, and you know, like that's what I'm most proud of my podcast. But like, I don't want to do Let's Plays, so I'm not going to do them. But like, I might do a Let's Play now that I have figured out the best way to play Bloodborne because I did recently. So like now, I'm like,
how do you do that? How do you play through Bloodborne in an efficient way? Because I need to know because I fucking suck at it.
You call Alex Aziz or you hit him up on Twitter at The Conductor and you ask him to fucking make you good at Bloodborne because he just told me the weapon to pick, exactly what to level up, when to level up, and then like with a gear to wear, when to upgrade, and I'm like, oh shit! Now that I know all this stuff, this game's really not that hard. Like I'm like, I think I killed the first 4 bosses without dying. Like
Alex Aziz is a very insightful person about almost a lot of things. I remember he's a very smart guy. I remember he came for PSX as well, and him and I had a really nice discussion about music.
No, his music is that's really his bread and butter. That and software engineering.
Okay.
That's an interesting conversation.
Sean, someone on Twitter, a Twitter person asks, this person is at Lawrence PTW, and he asks, "Hi, Sean. I wanted to ask, what's your end goal? Working at Kinda Funny or expanding Nerds?" And I sort of had the same question before I found this on Twitter. I was like, where do you see yourself going in the future in the gaming industry or gaming media coverage industry? Where do you see yourself going next?
Next is tough. I know where I'm going to end. I just don't know how I'm going to get there. I'm going to end it Kinda Funny.
Okay.
I think unless I was to become the face of IGN or like something fucking crazy, like where like I don't want to be a solo personality. I never got into it for that. Like it's great that people love to hear me talk about video games and do all that stuff, but like Nerds is a really good resume builder. And like that does not mean that I treat my work with any less care. I slave over it because I want to get a good job. Like I would like to work at IGN for some time, or Rooster Teeth. I've talked to some people at Rooster Teeth recently, and I have friends that work at Rooster Teeth. I have good references there. So I think my next stop is somewhere in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
I have a unique
you were recently at PAX South.
Yeah.
It seems like you had a hell of a time there with Alex, Andy, Zyger,
Trevor, Machacha, Frank. I mean, I could go on all forever. Evan. A lot of my friends were there. Sean Finnegan, I got to see Alana from IGN. These are people who I look up to tremendously. I didn't get to see Aransky, unfortunately, but especially Sean Finnegan, who is probably one of the most talented people I know, and Alana, who she's had such an awesome journey, and then now she's at IGN, and it's like awesome to watch that unfold. It's tough. It's tough to know where I want to go next because like I say that I want to end it kind of funny, right? And that's why I got into it. But like, what if life's really good at IGN? What if I'm not opposed to staying at IGN if IGN can do the things that I want to do. I feel like I have a lot of great work I can give IGN. Like I have a lot of stuff I want to do when I get there. Right now it's tough for me because they have a job opening that I am very qualified for, and I've made a decision not to apply, and it was very hard for me. I want to apply.
Do you feel comfortable talking about why you made that decision, or
it's just not the right time? Like I really want to do it, right? And like I applied for the community manager position and I didn't get it, and which is totally cool because Kylie got it and she is like unbelievably qualified. She's going to be a great community manager, and I'm so happy for her because I've met her and she's very nice. So like, no hard feelings. I get it. And then her position opened up, but it's not a full-time position. It's contract work, which is like 40 hours a week and not as much money. I don't know if I'd have health care. And to move across the country to the most expensive city in the world to start there, which would be totally okay. I would totally do it if I wasn't in debt. I'm in a little bit of debt right now for my travels. And now without my car, I just paid off 2 of my credit cards this week. Like I have 1 credit card left. It's going to take me 6 months to pay it off because it's like a fucking $6,000 credit card. But, but now, I mean, I'm making more than enough money to do that. And traveling isn't cheap. People think like I'm some guy who inherited a bunch of money. I'm just some fucking normal guy who decided I wanted to travel to every show on the fucking planet and put it all on my American Express. It wasn't not the smartest idea, but it worked. I got to where I wanted to go. I made my name. And I don't.
Yeah, you did make your name, and it came at a cost, but you're owning up to it, and you're finally facing that. Yeah, and that is such an adult decision. I feel like if anybody else got that opportunity to apply for that opening at IGN, and they would probably take it and without a second thought. And it's that is very an adult decision to sort of look at everything else that you have going on and be like, no, this isn't the right time. This isn't the right place. But hopefully, there will be a right time and a right place.
I don't get it twisted though. I don't want people to think that I'm burnt by not getting hired. No, I would totally fucking apply for that position if it was I made more money doing it and I could continue to pay off my debt. I'm down with being poor. I'm not down with being poor and in debt. That's a fucking stressful situation.
There are two very different things, and if you don't,
I'm okay with not having any money. I'm not okay with owing $6,000. And if I was to get a job offer in Austin, I would probably take it because I would make more money, and my rent would be cheap in Austin. But so that's a different situation why I want to move there. But it was really hard to make that decision not to apply.
Yeah. And so, hopefully you'll live in Austin for a little bit and then you'll find something out here. Because my plan now, well, it's more of my girlfriend Alyssa's plan. She wants all of you guys to move out here so we can all find a big ass apartment and just live with each other and not have to pay a full thing of rent.
Maybe. I don't know. I like my privacy. If I'm making enough money to live by myself, I'll live by myself. But I will definitely visit like constantly, and we can watch Supernatural together.
Yeah. She's really been trying to get me into Supernatural again. I just can't do it. I gotta get into it through bursts, especially because I've been stuck on season 6 for like the last 6 months. So
that's a tough season.
It is. It is a very tough season. Or maybe we started 7.
I think it's 7 because you're on Leviathan, and that's tough to get through. That Leviathan season's tough.
So obviously we're talking about Supernatural, and both of us talk about video games all the time on the fucking internet. And we're nerdy people, but something that you really also enjoy is music. And I wanted to ask you, like, is there any music like that you're anticipating, any albums coming out possibly soon that like you're really, really excited for? Because that's something I noticed on the last episode of Nerds, actually, where you started talking about Panic at the Disco and Childish Gambino and all of these things, and I realized like, oh shit, he actually, like, we've talked about music a little bit before, but I don't think we've actually sat down and had a discussion about it. So is there anything you're really excited to come out?
I mean,
because by the time this airs, by the time this goes up for people, Waves or whatever the fuck it's called by Kanye West is out. Are you excited for that?
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say Yeezy's new album is coming out, and I mean, you got to get every Yeezy album that comes out. I'll pick that up day one. And Kanye West is, I think every album he's made has gotten worse, but I think that his best album is his first album, and it goes down. And not to say he's ever made a bad album. I'm just saying I think they've gotten slightly worse. Because College Dropout is my favorite, Late Registration is my second favorite, Graduation is my third favorite, with the exception of 808s. But I just not my type of music. Because then, like, I think Dark Twisted Fantasy is below all of the first 3. Like, I don't.
Oh my god!
People think that's the greatest album of all time, but I don't even think it's the best Kanye West album.
I don't think it's the greatest album of all time, but it's definitely my favorite Kanye album.
I don't understand how people could say that. I mean, like, music is one of those things where it's like you're completely entitled to your own opinion, and I like some of the tracks off them are fire, and like, but I don't understand how people could sit there with a straight face and tell me that that's better than College Dropout. Because College Dropout is a masterpiece, and it's longer.
I'm not a huge rap sort of. That's not my main genre, and so I have like very specific cases when it comes to rap. Mm-hmm. And the first time I listened to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, my friend was playing it on a record player with like a surround sound system. So the first time I listened to it, it was like blasting, and it's very theatrical. And I come from
it's a presentation.
Yeah, it's a presentation, and just like the beginning of like the chorus and all of that. I come from
that first track is amazing.
Yeah, so good. And there are some dips here and there. But that is a very theatrical album, and I'm a very theatrical person. I before I made this jump to video game coverage, I wanted to, do theater and shit. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to jump from this one thing that doesn't pay me a bunch of money, and I'm going to jump to this other thing that doesn't pay me a bunch of money. So, I appreciate when things are like bigger than life sort of things. And that's how I first experienced my Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. So that's why I like that album. Because it was like my first Kanye experience, because I haven't listened through like out his whole works like while they were coming out. Like I've gone back now and listened to them. I don't hate, except for 808, and I think there's another one.
I still think there's songs on 808 that are like good, but it's just not my type of thing. And I get, and I know I'm in a minority there. Like I know that people love my Dark Twisted Fantasy. I know people that fucking love you, and I don't.
Jesus made no sense. Jesus made no sense to me, like whatsoever.
But when you
have to admit, the greatest line came out of that album where I think it's I Am a God, where he's like, I'm in a French ass restaurant. Hurry up with my damn croissants.
Yeah.
That line is just fucking hilarious to me, and I don't know why, but I think
He's got. I mean, I still, like I said, like what's exciting about this new album is he says it is the writer's block is over. In his new song with Kendrick, he says like, "My fans never thought I'd rap like this again," and he's like, that style of rap that he's using in that song is very old Kanye, and that was what excited me because "Gone" I think is his best song ever, and like he has a great line in that where he's like, "Now I'm at the top where do belong because I dookied on any song that they threw me on." Is like still one of my favorite lines of all time. That whole goes into this great thing about how like he's gonna change all of music, and then he does, which is unbelievable. That, and I still think it has the best single of all time, which is "All Falls Down." Is probably "All Falls Down," even though it's like a radio hit, might be my second favorite Ye song like ever. That song is so perfect. I know every word of that. I could acapella rap that whole song. There's only like
I would ask you to do it right now, but I don't know if we're gonna get copyright striked or whatnot.
Yeah, there's also some words on there you shouldn't say. But
yeah, that is true.
I'm excited for Kanye. Drake's new album's coming out too this month.
Yeah. Is it? I didn't know it was gonna be that
month. It might be April.
Okay,
but it's soon. I fucking love Drake. People like to hate on Drake. People like to hate on me for liking Drake. I love Drake. I've liked Drake for 10 years now. I appreciate what he does. I feel like he is the only rapper in the game that is like not trying to be buddies with everybody and like openly doesn't like people and like his music talks about like I want to be the best. And I don't feel like anybody in rap does that anymore, except with the exception of Kanye, who just says I'm a god. But like Drake will go after, as Meek Mills can tell you, he will go after you, and that's what I like. I like aggressive hip hop. And then I like a little bit of everything though. I like a lot of Lil Dicky. I'm going to see Lil Dicky in concert, which is going to be cool. He's
that's awesome. You had just gotten into him when you came to visit me in October when we were doing the IGN house party, and you and Tom were like really into Lil Dicky.
I still am. He has one of my favorite songs called "Really Scared," which is a song about how he made this lifestyle change and he's changed all his priorities, and then he started to succeed, and it's scary because it is like once like all of a sudden I'm going to be known as the kid who had everything and just didn't make it if I don't make it. Like who had all this momentum, who had Greg and Tim and everybody behind him who was like VIP at these IGN things. And if I don't make it, I'll be that kid who didn't make it. And that's
Dude,
scary.
If you can't make it, no one can make it, Sean.
Yeah,
don't think like that.
No, because it could happen. Like
it could happen. It could happen to anybody.
And then not be able. I could lose my job and not be able to travel, and then no one would remember me. Like that's what I thought about after my car accident. I was like, man, I'm so close to making it, and I almost died. It's like Really Scared is a song that hits very close to home for me. But Childish Gambino is my favorite, favorite musician of all time.
God, like when you were talking about him on the recent episode of Nerds, and I have so much music that I can't put it on my iPhone, so I have to do like the select albums and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And so I actually had to go back this morning because I wanted to listen to him on the way to work this morning. And I was like, oh, shit, I got to put this back on my iPhone. I was listening to the Kawaii sort of EP. That he,
did you get the mixtape?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so they're both amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just listening to the 3005 like Beats remix, and it just fit perfectly with like San Francisco is usually like sort of chilly, and that's mainly because of wind. But this morning it was it was really warm, and there was like a nice breeze, and it just fit perfectly with like this music that he creates. And he is definitely one of the best people in entertainment right now when it comes to genius. Yeah, when it comes to acting, when it comes to stand up, and also
he's a great writer.
Yeah,
wrote most of 30 Rock, like a lot of the jokes in 30 Rock. People don't even understand how talented he is. My fear is that he'll kill himself before he puts out his next album. He suffers from depression. He's been open about it. He's a very weird person, which is why his music is so good. I still tell people like Camp is a perfect album, which is his first album. I think that is a flawless album. Every track on it's perfect. It's arranged perfectly. The songs fit into each other perfectly. It has a great message. Because the internet's a little bit harder to swallow. But even his older stuff, like Cul-de-sac, his EP is fucking amazing. And then he talks about it in his EP. He tells people like Cul-de-sac was an ultimatum. And it's like, that's such a perfect way to put that. I could talk about Childish Gambino forever. Like I talk about a musician that changed my fucking life. Like I'm getting a tattoo sleeve this weekend. Like I'm starting my tattoo sleeve.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like I want a campfire on my arm from camp because that's how much that fucking album influenced my life. Like that, I heard that and I didn't know I could love music that much because I listen to camp every week, at least once. Like I probably will listen to it now because I'm talking about it. Just such a perfect album. Seen him in concert too. His best concert I've ever been to in my entire life.
And then like other sort of hip hop. Do you listen to Frank Ocean whatsoever?
Yeah. I hope that he comes back and makes more music.
Yeah, there's like that weird rumor sort of like 2014 album, and then he never came back and talked about it. So there's like a built up momentum because Channel Orange came out, and that album was fucking amazing.
Yeah, phenomenal.
And it's sort of weird to like see something like that and sort of see him sort of drop off the planet in a way.
He just stopped making music.
Yeah, and he might be scared. Like Channel Orange is one of those things. It's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be hard to follow up, but it's going to be scary to follow up, just because of what people's expectations are now. So,
great example of that is Macklemore. How the fuck is Michael Macklemore going to come up after The Heist? The Heist is considered to be one of the greatest albums of all time, one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time. Like,
really?
Yeah, but I mean, it won a lot of Grammys. A lot of, especially people my age and my generation, they adore that album. And like it hit on a lot of great points. It was political and it had like Same Love, which ended up being like just a fucking monstrous hit. And I think it had 3 number ones on it. And how on earth do you won album of the year in the Grammy? You won a Grammy for album of the year, hip hop album of the year. I'm pretty sure. And like, what do you do? Like, how the fuck do you follow that up? That's why Macklemore hasn't made any fucking music. He made like one song, he made Downtown, and like he's just been dry. Because like I wouldn't want to follow that shit up either. Alex and Aziz and I had a conversation about this. Like, I feel bad for Macklemore. I'll probably love whatever he does, but man, it's scary.
Yeah, it's sort of interesting because again, I'm not a huge hip hop guy, so I know the hits from that album. I didn't know it was like that well loved because
a lot of my friends personally, and a lot of critics like that album's special.
Yeah, like I have very select things like Kanye and then Childish Gambino, and then a lot of the guys from Odd Future. Do you listen to anybody else from Odd Future besides Frank Ocean, or you just sort of stay away from that crowd?
I've heard of them, but I don't make it a point in my life to go and listen to them.
Yeah, they are definitely a very hard sort of listen. They're hard to swallow sometimes, especially Tyler, the Creator, who is like he's like the sort of he's sort of the ringleader there. But if you're looking for any sort of like chill tracks, just because, that's sort of like that was my playlist this morning. It was like a bunch of just chill sort of hip hop. He's got a couple of good ones on his most recent album called Cherry Bomb. There's like one called Two Seater, and then on his 2013 album Wolf, he's got a good one called like Answer and Awkward. When he first came into the scene, he was definitely like crazy and like out there, but then like ever since then he's definitely chilled out and sort of started making easier to listen to tracks. So if you're ever looking to listen to anything new or different,
I'm really into J. Cole's album, the live version of it, the new one, Forest Hills. The live version has a certain type of energy that I felt like the other album, like the normal version of the album, actually lacks. J. Cole's a very emotional rapper. So it was weird to hear that. I think that album was very good, but I just didn't feel like he brought the same intensity that he's brought to other albums, especially like I think that he had 3 of the best mixtapes of all time. So J. Cole is another one. J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar are by what I'm listening to right now. A lot of Kendrick.
Yeah, do I have to listen to the new Kendrick Lamar album that came out last year? Should I listen to it?
I think you should, yeah. I think
Okay,
if you have Spotify or like listen to it on YouTube, you know, you don't have to pay for it. If you like it, pay for it. Music's one of those weird things where it's like it's so because of how much music I love, I just buy Spotify because I'm like I want to support you, but I'm not rich to buy every album. Like I buy every Childish album, I buy every Kanye album, I buy every Maroon 5 album, but
oh wow, I didn't pay you for a Maroon. Well,
love
so
them.
you're you're as handsome as Adam.
Thank
Levine.
you. I try. I wish I was fucking as handsome. If I was as handsome as Adam Levine, I would just never have a shirt on. I would just be shirtless all the time. That's why I'm getting a tattoo sleeve. I want to look more like him.
Okay. But so you also like rock and pop in a little bit. Do you like pop punk at all or punk?
I went through a phase where I listened to pop punk, and I still like. I have nothing against pop punk. If a good pop punk song comes on, like I still listen to "Swing My Life Away" or whatever it is, "Swing Life Away." Forget who even wrote that song, but that was like one of the. It's gonna drive.
That
me
might have
crazy.
been New Found Glory. I don't know.
Yeah, I listened to that for like ages 15 through like 18.
Yeah,
like,
I'm still sort of in that phase, like not like super pop punk where the bands all hate their town and they want to eat pizza and whatnot. I've sort of started edging into the sort of emo pop punk because I'm getting into my adulthood where I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with my life. So
that never goes.
But
away.
yeah, that's sort of like where I come from, and what I grew up with was sort of like Blink-182 and Sum 41 and Green Day.
Love all
so
seen all them in concert.
Yeah, I saw Blink. The last time I saw them was when their Neighborhoods album came out in 2011, I think. I've actually never seen Green Day. I was supposed to, but I was such a shitty kid in high school. I actually got grounded the day of the Green Day concert.
That sucks.
I know, and I miss Green Day.
I saw them on their American Idiot tour.
Oh my god, that's got to be.
That was the pinnacle. That was like they were never as good as they like went fucking after that album. But
well, even beforehand, it was like Dookie, and then like you got some hits going on, and then American Idiot, and then
just a peak.
And
another
then
one of those albums
all the way down.
What do you do after American Idiot? You got a fucking Broadway show named after your album. Like where do you go? Like, oh, sorry.
You wait 6 years and then you bring out 21st Century Breakdown and then be forgotten forever.
Yeah, they did a lot of drugs, but like, I was down with Jesus of Suburbia.
Yeah, that was a great song.
9 minute long song. You know every fucking word to it.
Yep. And so if you're ever looking for any like good pop punk bands, I would highly recommend. Let's see. Let me pull up my list here. Do you listen to Streetlight Manifesto at all?
Fred does, I think, but I don't.
They're like a good like ska punk with like a lot of horns and stuff. Less Than Jake, another good one.
They actually opened for Green Day at that concert.
That's fucking awesome. I've seen Less Than Jake probably 4 times now, and they're still one of my favorite bands to see live. They bring such a great energy.
It was Less Than Jake, Jimmy Eats World, Green Day.
I've never seen Jimmy Eat World live, but I hope to one day. Really? That was it?
They got booed off the stage.
What the fuck? That's so weird.
They did that one song that they're really famous for, like the whoa, and then done. They just got booed off the stage.
Poor Jimmy Eat World, man.
At least that's how I remember that going.
And then I would also recommend to you if you like to like have like really good like jam out sessions where you just want to get all this energy out. A good band for that is The Story So Far, which is actually a pop punk band. Not that far away from myself, over in the East Bay. They're a couple of cool guys. They've headlined like Warped Tour and stuff before. Cool. Yeah, they're really cool. So if you're ever looking to like get a good jam in, get all of this energy out, all of this emotion, check them out. They got a couple of good tracks. Well, anyways, I just wanted to talk about music.
I listen to some weird shit too, man. My music taste is so wide. It won't be. I don't know what the fuck Alex O'Neill made me listen to,
But whatever we were listening to on the way to picking you guys up at PSX or like at the airport for PSX was the weirdest shit. Where it was like these two guys and they were rapping about like just like sex, but like in a very weird, funny way. I forget who it was, but that was probably the weirdest thing I've ever listened to.
You need to drive more in the car with Jack. Jack's got the weirdest. Jack will just listen to like a fucking tambourine blowing on by wind for like fucking 6 hours straight. I'm like, what are you even listening to? But like, yeah, I'll go through like emo phases. I'll listen to like nothing but Mayday Parade for like fucking 2 weeks. Just like fucking cry. Yeah, I got a weird music taste, man. And then it's like nothing but Black Keys for fucking 6 weeks straight.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go into that sometimes. Like I'll get into like my brand new phase for like a couple of weeks.
Brand new.
Yeah, their band Hotelier, their album Home Like No Places There definitely reflects a lot of early brand new, like their very first album, which was super pop punk. And also Deja Entendu, where it's a good mix of like those two things. So if you're ever feeling into that brand new mood, I would highly recommend them.
I was listening to Modern Baseball earlier today.
Oh my god, I am so proud of you,
dude! I'm sorry, my music taste fucking everywhere. It's just like
I know.
Throw a dart.
I did not pay you for a Modern Baseball type of guy. Yeah, they're fucking awesome. They're one of those unique pop punk bands where they're not they're sort of like on the edge of like emo and like pop punk, and they definitely have their own sound. They remind me of like sort of early Weezer in a way, and not exactly music wise, but just how they present themselves of like, hey, we're just guys in a band and we're awkward. So yeah, I'm very surprised that you listen to Modern Baseball. They're fucking rad, though.
A Tinder date once upon a time was like, hey, you should listen to this band. Don't get me now. We actually are just friends. We went on a date and we were like, oh, this is cool. She was really pretty. And like, we were just like, she was like going away to school. So we were just like, oh, we'll just keep in touch. And I would just like talk about music. Like, she'll just be like, you should listen to this. She hasn't done it in a while though. She has a boyfriend. So now you got to be careful. Yeah. She just like tell me music to listen to. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
So I have another question. From the Twitter sphere, which is from at Ryan Santil, one of the biggest fans of Tim Geddes, I hear.
And
Nerds.
Huge nerd. He's our biggest supporter. We couldn't do anything we'd do without Ryan.
Go, Ryan. You go, Ryan. You're fucking awesome. He wants to know, how can you have such perfect hair?
I don't. That's all smoke and mirrors. I Photoshop hair onto myself. I'm actually quite bald.
You were actually originally considered to play Lex Luthor in the new Batman v Superman movie.
100%. That fucking snake in the grass, Jesse Eisenberg. Fucking, he Zuckerberged me. I was supposed to be playing that role. My hair is something that I take great pride in. I'm not showing you it right now because it wasn't up to my standard.
And as you can see, I really don't like fucking whatever. I'll just do this for the rest of the fucking video. I don't give a shit.
You look like Fred. Fred actually takes after me a little bit. Fred takes after me in a lot of the things that he does, just because I'm older than Fred and I've always been there. So like Fred's like the closest thing I'll ever have to a little brother.
Aww.
So like
I love Fred. Fred's the fucking best.
Fred's my best friend in the entire world. So like, yeah, he's a good guy. But we both get our haircuts every 10 days or so. That's when he can swing it. Like I get my haircut like religiously. My hair is officially too long. I have to get a cut tomorrow, which is why I have a hat on right now. But I'm very anal about my hair. Like I have to. My hair gel has fucking changed their recipe, and I know exactly how much hair gel I need to use. So I'm actually going back and opening hair gels in the store, trying to find older versions of it. That's still the original recipe, so that I can have something until fucking I can like put it together and figure out a new hair gel that I like. Because it's like this shit, I can't figure out how much gel to use. I also have a special comb that I use.
What makes it so special?
It's like it's a square facing comb, but it's like raised a little bit so that the like little hair things like are spread perfectly for a comb over perfectly. Every time. It's like not too close, not too far. It's that perfect turn. I had to use a couple of brushes to find it, and usually it's like if it's hard to explain, but I could show it to you. Like I could point it out if I was at a store, like the type of brush I need to use. And like there's no coincidence that Fred, who also has great hair, uses the exact same brush, and Tim uses the same brush. You got to know what you're looking for,
because you guys all have like the sort of going back sort of. Yeah, I can't do that. My hair won't let me do that.
No, you have the same hair as Fred, exact same hair.
I saw a picture of Tim actually where his hair was all undone. I was like, holy shit, Tim has the same hair as me.
The key is to when it's damp, you use a high paste product. Now, if you go gel, the dampness will just meet with the water and it'll turn into water, and you won't have any hold. But you have to like, not to the point where it's super dry, but it's kind of damp. You get a nice paste going on about a dime size in your hand, rub it out, and then go straight back, and then over, straight back and over. It'll straighten your hair.
Yeah. All right. I'll test it out one day.
Yeah,
maybe
it's a 10-year-long battle.
Funny live too, where like I'll just do it and then I'll just follow you around and be like, "Hi, I'm Sean's little twin."
It's been a 10-year battle with my hair. Right around the time I turned 14, I stopped shaving my head. So I used to shave my head.
Yeah, I used to cut my hair a lot. This is actually the longest I've let my hair grow since forever. This is the longest my hair has ever been ever. Yeah, my hair is always. My hair is always at like a 2 on top and then a 1 on the sides, and that's it. That's how it's always been. And then like this last year, I was like, fuck it, I'll let it grow out. And that's actually like it might have actually been a little longer when we first met about a year ago. It was super crazy back then. It's only just recently when I decided to start doing that.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's tough. I get a 2 on the sides. Or I'll start with a 1 at the sideburns, fade it up all the way up until like this line in my head is all a 2. And then I comb it over the top. Because I have a cowlick, and if you don't kill that cowlick, it'll just stick up in the back. It fucking drives me crazy.
I know the cowlick. That cowlick struggle is fucking... It's real.
Very real. It's very real.
Fucking real. Of course, we cover video games, so one of the last questions I have for you is, what is your most anticipated game? Not just for 2016, but like just in general. What are you looking forward to in the future of video games?
It's tough.
It is a tough one.
I'm pretty pumped for H1Z1 to come out on PS4.
Now, what is this game? I've been hearing a lot about it, but I still don't.
It's like a zombie apocalypse survival. It's like DayZ. But there's also a battle royale mode, which I believe they're releasing for the PS4, which is like 50 players just get dropped into an open world, and the last man standing wins. It's like
holy fuck!
It's Hunger Games, but this cloud of gas is coming in from all sides, and it makes the map smaller and smaller, and so everybody has to converge at the same point. So eventually, anybody who's alive all meets at the top of this mountain or like in the middle of this building, and then it's a fucking shootout to see who wins.
That's fucking awesome. That sounds rad as shit.
Yeah, it is.
I want to pick that up now. When does that come out?
June. I believe it's summer, so that's when I think it'll probably launch right after E3. It'll be a good momentum builder for PS4 because I think they're going to want to show that on stage because it would make sense because it's exclusive.
Yeah, probably.
Other than that, like Division, I'll know more about the Division next week. I didn't get a chance to play the beta.
So yeah, I was in that same boat. I was actually emailed from Ubisoft a beta code, and then I entered it in. It was like this doesn't work. I was like, oh, thanks guys. So yeah, I didn't test out the beta, but from what I've gotten from a lot of reactions, it's very sort of lukewarm. There are a couple people who are excited about it.
I know people that are like, this reminds me of Destiny.
I think and I've heard you say that before, but what do you mean in that sort of sense? Like how do you think Division is going to be a lot like Destiny?
I think it's going to be a world that's not fully developed. You're going to be able to burn through all the content in like 6 hours, and then it'll be like PvP focused, and that is going to be a problem because that game doesn't have a built-in deathmatch system. It's a third-person shooter, which puts it at an inherent disadvantage to all shooters. Third-person mechanics are like basically impossible to nail.
Yeah.
And it's going to be very PvP based, which is tough. It's tough for a game to survive on that. The only reason Destiny was able to survive on its PvP is because of how good its PvP is. Mechanically, that game's almost perfect.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I played Destiny. I actually played the Destiny beta. I was like, wow, this is really cool. And then my good friend Ricky, who's also a part of BzG, he actually bought Destiny, and I tried it out for a couple hours. I was like, wow, I'm really not feeling this. But the mechanics were something that I noticed of if I was really into shooters, because I'll buy a shooter once every couple of years. But I realized that Destiny wasn't that for me. So, but after a couple of hours, I was sort of bored of it. But that is something that I noticed was
that's how most people are. And that's totally understandable. I play that game because it's a good first-person shooter that I can dominate people in.
Yeah, and so yeah, that's mainly what I had to ask you for this interview was all these questions, and we're gonna wrap up here. But the last thing I wanted to ask you is, you love San Francisco, and I think it's safe to say I can speak for everybody, literally everyone in San Francisco, everybody, especially our shitty mayor Ed Lee, in saying we all love you as well. So when can we expect you to come back to San Francisco? When's your next trip?
I just had the dopest deja vu. I have been here before.
How so?
Man, that is so. I don't know. I feel like I've lived this exact. Oh man, that was a strong. They changed something in the Matrix. That was funny. Shit, right there. I will be back in SF 100% in May.
Maybe we still don't know.
I might have said too much.
Okay.
I mean, regardless, I think I'm going in May to visit friends.
Okay.
Because I have
for
there. Whenever Kind of Funny Life 2 is, I'll be there. Whenever I'll be back in California for San Diego Comic-Con too. So I'll be in the area. If IGN has anything going on, you can probably bet I'll fucking scamper on in there. But
cool.
Yeah, I think that it's safe to say I'll be there for almost a week in probably May.
Okay, sweet. And should we also expect Tom Hawkins to come for Kind of Funny Live too? Because Greg Miller did say if Tom Hawkins doesn't come, they're all killing you.
First of all, I'd like to see them try.
I would actually love that to be a video of not like an actual fight, but like a production of the 4 Kind of Funny guys, and maybe even Kevin, like in
Kevin's
Golden Gate Park. I would love to have a video where they're just trying to hunt you down in Golden Gate Park, and you just slowly take them out one by one. I think that'd be fucking hilarious.
If they all attacked me at the same time, I would grab Greg's cheek with all the force and not let it go. No, I think that the only one I would really have to be worried for is Nick, because Nick has some basic jiu-jitsu training. And if anybody who doesn't know, I teach Brazilian. I have taught Brazilian jiu-jitsu in the past. I'm a Brazilian jiu-jitsu purple belt. A lot of my friends are cage fighters that I train with, so I'm not afraid of those guys. But I love them to death. I would come hell or high water. Tom Hawkins is getting in this country somehow.
He's doing it.
I'm very certain that he'll be there for Kind of Funny Live, but I mean this, honest to God, it's not up to us. It's up to the country. If United States of America does not want to let Tom into the country, it's really out of our hands. We can't do anything about it.
Thanks, Obama. Nah,
he might have to transfer in Vegas. Vegas doesn't require you to go through customs when you check in. So
that is very interesting.
You can just land in Vegas.
And then just drive.
Yeah, well, he'd just take another flight to San Francisco.
That's true. Flight. Okay.
It's actually cheaper. It's actually cheaper to live in Vegas, take a plane every day to your job in San Francisco, than it is to actually rent a 1-bedroom apartment. Someone did the math on that, and it came out to be true.
Yep. Yeah, I can imagine that. Well, anyway, thank you, Sean. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
And remember, you can find Sean on nerdsonline.com. He's also at Sean Twisters on Twitter. And you'll be able to find him sometime in May or June, whenever, for Kind of Funny Live 2. And also for Comic-Con and all that good stuff.
Yeah, if you are at a convention, there's a good chance that I'm there. If it's
exactly.
a big show, not E3, even though this is the second year in a row I'm going to have a pass to E3 and not be able to go, which is pretty fucking heartbreaking. I said I would go this year, but I anticipated having more time off. And my boss was actually just fired at my job who approved my last time off. So
man.
Even kind of funny he's in jeopardy right now. But I'm going. Like, worst case scenario, I'll just not show up to work.
Worst case scenario, I'll lose my job to just go to Kind of Funny Live.
If
too.
they fire me, they have to pay me severance. And by then, I'll have enough in the bank to survive. All for freelance.
Okay.
Stuff. But
okay.
Sorry, I lost my train of thought. If you are at a show,
that's okay.
On Twitter, if PAX East, I'll be at. PAX Prime, I'll be at. PAX, I think that's the only PAXs. South, I'll be at. Obviously, I was just there. You missed me. San Diego Comic-Con. RTX.
If you're looking for PAX South, you're a little too late.
RTX, we're doing a huge show at RTX. Nerds is. So that's gonna be,
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be like just at our house though. We're renting a house, so it'll be the Nerds house.
Cool. Well,
it smells like peach and it's amazing.
Yeah, we've got a candle somewhere. It's like gray, and I don't know what sort of smell it is, but it smells fucking awesome.
It's like, the bad guys from the first Power Rangers series.
What?
They were great.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, again, thank you so much, Sean, for coming on to BzG News today, for being our Gamer of the Month. Yeah, thank you so much for you as well, audience people, for joining us today. And until next time, stay gamery and nerdy and shit.
GG, guys.
I want to give another thanks to Sean for being on the show. He is one of the many people I've met in the last year that I look up to and am proud to say is my friend. And if you ever want to be Gamer of the Month, you can always reach me on Twitter. I'll be more than happy to get you on the show and talk to you about a bunch of random crazy things. And with that being said, thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, BzG News is up every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll see you next week for some more news. And until then, stay nerdy. Sean Pitt stopped by for a one-on-one interview where we talk about his journey through gaming. Damn it. Band 4 had some major and the code straight up just didn't work. But good news for us, people. The